Announcements of a Super League with the 12 richest soccer clubs rocked Europe and shocked the world, and while most of the teams dropped out of the plan in just a few days, there are still a lot of people talking about it. Several dozen articles were released, even a few in the New York Times, in the days after the announcement. And then you had Sky TV analysts and former players ripping their former clubs and the plans for several days. People protested immediately. You also had UEFA and FIFA immediately denouncing the Super League plans and threatening sanctions, fines, and even banishment from competition. Late Show host James Corden, or Craig Owens for you Doctor Who fans, almost broke down in tears talking about the impact the league would have on other clubs, cities, and just the game in general. Even British Prime Minister Boris Johnson called it out and threatened action in order to keep his voters happy. The only reason anyone could come up for why this was being formed: greed. A quick lesson for those new to soccer or for those who don't really understand the severity of these plans. European soccer runs on a format unlike anything seen in the US. First of all, there are 55 National Association members of UEFA. Some aren't even sovereign nations. The members run a domestic league system in a pyramid style with a top division and other divisions depending on population and how many clubs there are. The season is different for many places as well. For example, the English Premier League has 20 teams. They play 38 rounds of scheduled matches. And the champion is the team that finishes with the most points. In the Scottish Premiership, there are only 12 teams, so they play 22 rounds of a home and away match and then play another 11 rounds with a random draw of who is home and away. In Belgium, 16 teams play 30 rounds and then enter championship playoffs. They have the regular season points and begin a new mini league until a champion and European qualifiers are determined. The other 10 teams will still have games for a chance to play one of the championship playoff teams for a spot in the Europa League. Teams can also be promoted from one level to another year to year depending on how well they do. And then there are the national cups, not including the national team tournaments like the Euros or the World Cup. The two main Europe-wide competitions are the Champions League and the Europa League, and there is also a Europa Conference League now. Teams make these national cup tournaments depending on how well they did in the previous season in their domestic league. Some leagues get more spots available because of a ranking system, but any team could essentially make these national cups. Some teams automatically make the group stage and others need to win other qualifying matches. The Champions League is considered the top national cup a team can make it to, but it is not guaranteed even for the richest and oldest teams. And that is where we get into this mess. Making the national cups means more money for clubs with streaming and home game revenues, not to mention the prize money. 19 million pounds went to the winning team, FC Bayern Munich of the Champions League in the 2019-20 season. So now let's get into the Super League. The reason why greed is the number one reason for the plan is because 12 clubs with a rich soccer history: Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, Manchester City, Manchester United, Tottenham Hotspur, Atletico Madrid, Barcelona, Real Madrid, AC Milan, Inter Milan, and Juventus all joined forces to make this European Super League, and they decided they essentially wanted to bypass the European soccer system to guarantee that they would have a spot in a tournament that would earn a lot of money and also compete with the Champions and Europa Leagues for revenues. It also meant that those guaranteed Super League teams could lose every domestic game in the season and still have this huge tournament to make money. But when we look even deeper to the effects such a move would have, it becomes very clear how horrible this idea actually was. First of all, a club team has many parts to it, from personnel to youth teams and programs to the ties to the city. Many teams for over 100 years, some 150 years. And then the damage caused to other teams that weren't in the Super League would be devastating, from teams losing revenue to teams going completely under and disbanding. Many of the smaller nations and less lucrative clubs would be forever damaged, and local economies that depend on soccer revenue would crash. So now we get to the masterminds for this almost catastrophic decision. Real Madrid president Florentino Perez Juventus chairman Andrea Agnelli and chairman Joel Glazer of the Manchester United club. Perez is a Spanish businessman and billionaire, of course. He was criticized for marketing Real Madrid as a brand instead of for its soccer in the past. Agnelli can thank his father for his position. His father, Umberto, was the CEO of Fiat and a senator in the Italian Republic. Glazer is an American businessman who essentially owns First Allied Corporation and HRG Group, and is also the owner of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He lives in Florida. Perez and Agnelli should technically know better, being from their areas, but Glazer is technically an outsider. And many other outside groups own the failed Super League teams here. Fenway Sports Group, led by John W. Henry, owns Liverpool. Stan Kroenke owns Arsenal. Elliott Management Corporation, a multi-billion-dollar investment management company, owns AC Milan. Manchester City is owned by Abu Dhabi royal family member Sheikh Mansour, and Chelsea is owned by Russian oligarch Roman Abramovich. The biggest thing that all these owners have in common, besides not having any involvement in the storied history of European soccer, they are all billionaires. Of course, the Super League isn't happening as of right now. The threat of sanctions from governing bodies and backlash from fan bases is a huge reason why. It seems like these owners didn't expect this to happen and were caught by surprise that their greed would be called out. Like I said before, all these teams are now dropped out. Many issued apologies to fans, including John W. Henry, although a lot of people don't necessarily think that there was a lot of sincerity in them. Perez and Agnelli were unapologetic, of course, and actually seem to still want this project to happen in the future based on their remarks. But it has been a wild week with a lot of emotions for many fans, players, former players, and others invested in European soccer. I recently talked with a friend, Javier Hurtado, a Liverpool fan who watches a lot of European soccer, to see what his thoughts were as the stories unfolded, which sent him in an emotional roller coaster. Also talked about some of the solutions to stop Perez and Agnelli and other billionaire owners from trying to find ways to do this in the future. So let's check out part of that conversation. I'm joined by my friend Javi here, who's a Liverpool fan. So obviously he's got a lot to say about this. What's going on, Javi? What's going on in your mind through this whole ordeal that started on Sunday?
It's a roller coaster, man. And the biggest thing, regardless of who you support in the original founding clubs of this new league that was being created, I feel that the feeling most people had was basically they were betrayed, depressed, and then on top of it, they're very angry. There is, for my club, Liverpool, they, the whole thing is you'll never walk alone. That pretty much goes hand in hand with Liverpool. So when you see how they've already had a history with these owners where they had workers of the stadium going furloughed because of COVID-19, then on top of it, they're also doing other things such as, making this one of the founding members of this club when it's all about money and greed and, capitalism. And, the north end of, especially that part of England is usually very labor. They're very, liberal, very, socialist, quote unquote, with their things. They want to look out for each other. And even though I hate Manchester United, they're very much like that too. They're Northerners too, as far as, relation to London and everything like that. But, you got to give credit to someone like Marcus Rashford, who is working with people of that area and then now all of England to make sure no kid goes hungry. And, again, I can't stand that club, but the players there are top class. And again, the things they're doing are very for the people, for everyone. Yeah. And this whole move, not only does it just yell greed, but they were also, in a sense, being like, UEFA, this all started, I believe, with UEFA basically saying, hey, we're going to add more games to the already crazy long competition that we have, that you have to already integrate with your local cup and then your other little smaller trophies that you're competing with. So, these teams that are in it all the time, they're like, this is ridiculous. They're not, I'm sure they'll get paid a little bit, but the owners saw it as like, hey, why don't we make our own Super League? And they got money, 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 TV deals and everything like that. I mean, we had Amazon and Disney going for it, and we know how much money they can spend. So at the end of the day, now, especially with my club being one of the vice chairman of the whole thing, it left a really sour taste in our mouth. And then, with John Henry, when his video response, I didn't think it was authentic. I think maybe he was sorry because he got caught. One of the founding clubs, one of the chairmen said that, what, kids these days, they don't care about Champions League. They don't care about, football. They don't care about, FIFA and stuff like that. Like, we got to make this appealing so that everyone watches it. And like, the old fans, like, they have all this, like, whatever, they're legacy fans is what they said. And that left a really bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. So it's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm a legacy fan. Like, they know they're going to lose me to their new scheme, but they're going to gain so many other of the younger generation, all that stuff, which I was like, dude, do you really know your fan base if that's what you think? Like, I mean, again,
I don't believe it.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, that sounds like BS. And again, you look at these footages of in London of all these people protesting. There's old people, there's young people, and wear a mask, go protest. But it's like, again, these people have felt betrayed. They're very angry. And I mean, I'm not again saying don't wear a mask at protests, especially yelling at people and all that stuff. But I guess when you're in the heat of the moment, it doesn't even matter because they felt. And I mean, I didn't even want to watch any more games after I heard about the ESL. It's just like, what? What's the point? We're going to join this new league. There's no Champions League anymore. The season, it's just like, it's already like, we're not doing too well. We're not even going to get in that Champions League spot. So what's the point of watching? Like, again, the owners, they don't give a damn. It's like, it was just really discouraging. And like, again, a lot of people were like, I refuse to watch because of what's going on. And I respect that. And that was kind of like, yeah, I refuse to watch too, because this is just shit. Like, it's such toxicity in the air. Like, what's the point? Like, everyone's felt defeated. And then, once we started lifting everything, like I said, today's the Arsenal game. I watched a little bit of that, but it's just, I still feel like there's that stench in the air that people are still like, I can't believe they tried doing this.
It's fresh, it's new, man. I mean,
oh yeah.
I mean, were you ready to burn your jersey like at some point?
No. Because you know what? Maybe my Nike jersey I just bought. Over in Brazil, it's like a holiday. It's like, oh my God. My dad would tell me when he's in, he goes down to Brazil for when he used to be at work, and he's like, oh yeah, the World Cup's happening. So everyone's like, oh, gotta go watch the game, big screen, and gotta go to the beach, and like they're playing it there on a big projector screen and all this stuff. Like, it's a big deal because everyone there is very proud of their soccer team. So it's a big event, and a lot of teams in Europe are like this too, or a lot of countries are like this in Europe too. So when you tell them that their best player can't play because he's part of a team that got into this whole scandal thing and this league, again, you're pissing people off instead of making them fans. And that's a great way to do it too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, what a mess, man. This whole league was just bad timing, bad execution, bad everything. And this is what happens when basically it's like, F everyone, give me all the money. Because that's literally what it was.
Thanks for watching. Several articles and video links are in the description below to help you understand the situation more. You can listen and watch the full interview with Javi as a part of the first episode of the SunDried Tomatoes Podcast, which will have new episodes every month at first on the SunDried Tomatoes YouTube channel, and you can find the podcast anywhere where podcasts can be found. All Random Reactions episodes are also now on YouTube as well as IGTV, and there will be more short shows coming in the near future on the channel. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, link in my Instagram bio, to watch and listen to my podcast and for more eclectic content like Random Reactions coming in the near future. Please follow my Instagram account for original short videos, news about the channel, companion pieces to the podcast and other shows that will be on the channel, or just to get to know me better.